A seatbelt can stop you from going into a store. A seatbelt can stop you from climbing a tree. It can stop you from flying or from rolling down a hill. A seatbelt can stop you from doing a lot of things, like crushing bones and damaging vital organs. It can even save your life. That's why we enforce seatbelt laws, to save lives. So buckle up every trip, every time. Click it or ticket. Paid for by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Blog Talk Radio.
Hey everybody, this is the Coast to Coast Radio Show. I'm your host, Ron Fitch. And today we're going to talk about the Boston Celtics and the Cleveland Cavaliers series, which just took a surprising turn. And I'm also going to talk about when I made an appearance on the Donte Boxing Nation show, and I had some interviews concerning Terrence Crawford's victory. I had a chance to talk to Terrence Crawford and rising star and Newark resident Shakur Stevenson. So we're gonna talk a lot of boxing, but first we're gonna go right into the NBA. I'm hoping the NBA Queen calls because she always explains, always respect your opponent. Respect your opponent. The media didn't respect the Celtics. The Cleveland didn't, and I sure didn't when I said LeBron's kids could go out there and beat Boston. And they didn't have Isaiah Thomas. And they made a comeback and defeated the Celtics 111-108. And I want to break this game down. The Cavaliers came, and LeBron James came out. I could tell he was dancing, and he's just like, I'm going to be passive and pass the ball around. We won by 40 at Boston. They don't have Isaiah Thomas. This is a cakewalk. And you got to respect your opponent. And they didn't, but they go up by 21 because Kyrie Irving had 29 points, was doing what he's supposed to do. And Kevin Love had 28 points, who's played really well against the Celtics, did what he had to do. But their defense broke down, and Boston started shooting three after three after three. Marcus Smart got going, had his career high. He played really good. And the rest of the team followed suit. And that's big. He had 27 points, 7 of 10 from three, so he hit 7 threes. And then Jerebko gets 10 points, who had a big 2-point shot to give him the lead. And all the rest of the players, Horford played well, scoring inside against Tristan Thompson in a big play. And everybody did their part. And the game was tied after Kyrie Irving makes a spectacular move in the lane. And Brad Stevens drew up a brilliant play where Avery Bradley came out of timeout and ran off what they call a flex cut. Instead of running off a screen, he faked the screen run and did an almost counterclockwise reverse where he caught the ball off of a wide-open screen on his flex cut, catches the ball, shoots it, and it rattles in, which doesn't give the Cavaliers enough time to shoot a three. The Celtics pull off the upset. They beat the Cavaliers 110-108. LeBron James had 11 points. He had 0 points in the fourth quarter, and this is where a lot of times he loses me. And people on Facebook say I hate. But when I do a radio show, I tell the truth. And I call it like I see it, and I call it like I'm supposed to see it. And at times he can be passive in big games or games where you could close out. He's not the assassin that Kobe or Bird or Magic or Jordan was, or Bill Russell for that matter. They were killers. He can be a killer sometimes. Sometimes he can't. Sometimes he's passive. Sometimes he's aggressive. And he's got too much all-time great talent for this kind of nonsense to be going forth. And I could tell by his approach, I'll be passive. I'm so good that, if they need me, I'll turn it on. You can't do that. You can't give a team like Celtics are feisty. They're not as good as Cleveland, but they're feisty. And they got a lot to fight them. And they got destroyed by Cleveland. Cleveland just annihilated them in game 2 at home. It just looked bad. Then they're up 21, so they're thinking, let's coast. And their defense has been good and terrible this year. And eventually that's going to catch up and bite them, whether that's this series I'm assuming they're going to win Game 4 at home, and Game 5 is a toss-up, and if they lose that, they should win Game 6. I don't think that bodes well against the Warriors. I think the Warriors will find a way. Like I said, they could get them at 7, but the Warriors play better, more consistent defense, better team ball, and they're a little hungrier coming off last year's loss. And you can't just arrogantly or narcissistically think you could just show up and just not. I'm not going to put in the work. You got to. I know the East is not great, but you got to at least put in the work. And you could have really put the dagger up 21. You go up 31. Put the game away. If they make a comeback late, so what? You win. You're up 3-0. Now you can finish. You get rest. Now, I mean, there's a little pressure. I mean, say, what if Boston pulls off another upset? Now you got to go back to Boston 2-2, and Boston has 2 of the next 3 games in their place, and now they're rejuvenated with a ton of confidence. You don't want that. You want them out of here. You want to get them out as early as possible so you don't have that problem, because now you're dealing with a lot of pressure now. You haven't had to deal with any pressure in the playoffs, just coasting and laughing and giggling and dancing and prancing. And that's kind of what their style. Cleveland has a little more of a – forget last year, because that was a good comeback after the Draymond Green suspension. They did come back. But a lot of time with LeBron, there's a lot of a front-running aspect to that. And when the good times are rolling, the shots are going in, the threes are going in, the little hook shot in the lane's going in, and you're good. But when a team presses up, at times he gets a little fragile. And that's why I said he's got a lot of Karl Malone in him, because Karl Malone was like that. But he's just more athletic and more talented than Karl Malone. And he's not always like that. There's times he's been brilliant under pressure, hitting big shots. But Kyrie's the guy, regardless of what goes on. He's going to go out there and be more of an assassin. LeBron's better, but Kyrie's more of an assassin. I was hoping the NBA Queen called in because she was texting me just in shock yesterday. And, hey, it happens. But anyway, I think Cleveland should win. Oh, we got the NBA Queen calling in. Hello.
Good morning, Ron. How are you?
I'm in shock. Cleveland went 21. I didn't. You got to respect the game. You got to respect your opponent, Queen.
This NBA playoff season really, really has not left us much to be excited about. I mean, the first great matchup was that first round with Houston and OKC. So exciting. I could not miss a second of those games.
Oh, yeah.
And then Boston and Chicago was kind of cool, but the next best matchup was that Boston and Washington. They went all the way to Game 7. It was it was a great series. I think the next best series we're going to see is not going to be what's going on right now. Definitely the finals between Golden State and Cleveland. As for Boston, I'm in shock. I was actually praying for a Cleveland injury because I just didn't want to see Boston get taken out of the playoffs like that. LeBron was spanking them every which way. It was awful. It was so embarrassing. It was hurtful. As the Queen, I love all ball, so I want to see a game. Those were not games. Those were beatdowns. How did Boston win without Isaiah?
So what if? I don't think it's going to happen. What if Boston won again in Cleveland? And they did that comeback against Chicago, and then they're going back to Boston 2-2. That's a lot of pressure on Cleveland.
I don't understand how they were able to.
Yeah, go ahead.
How did they win without Isaiah? I don't get it.
Well, you know what? They're a feisty team. They have a great coach in Brad Stevens. And they have a chip on their shoulder like, you know what? Everybody's making fun of us. I made fun of them. I said LeBron's kids could go out there with LeBron and beat Boston.
Right.
And I don't know if they heard that or not, but they came out. And Marcus Smart
that was amazing.
He's a tough-minded kid. And he hit threes. And Jerebko comes out of nowhere, hits a shot. And then Avery Bradley, the most underrated basketball player in the NBA, hits a three to win the game.
Yeah, I was just waiting for Cleveland to get that 2 shots that was going to put them on top. and just take the game. But I'll tell you, I call last night's game for Boston an act of God and none other.
Oh, yeah, and I'm going to tell you something, Queen. Even if Boston will win the series now, next year, because they'll get the first-round pick, whether it's Fletch or Jackson for Kansas, they have confidence going next year, like, okay, we'll beat you next year.
Yeah,
with their top 5 pick.
You couldn't get a better ego booster than beating LeBron. They snapped that winning streak. I mean, look at LeBron. Look at Cleveland. They have swept every opponent since the beginning of the playoffs. So this is a great opportunity for Boston.
With Cleveland, and then Boston fought back. So we're going to see, what Cleveland's going to do, because they've led every series, every game. Are they going to do it Game 4 and get Boston out? Now there's a little bit of drama, Queen.
Yeah.
You like to play on words? Drama, Queen.
Who's having drama, Ron? Who is having drama? Is LeBron actually worried about this?
Cleveland got the drama. They got the drama, Cleveland, their team. I mean, I could tell they were just fun and party city. We got this game, and then Boston, there was blowback. Boston came back. They weren't ready because they didn't play any defense, and they did that all year. And eventually, as the late great Malcolm X says, the chickens will come to roost. And I believe it's going to happen against Golden State, because Golden State hungry. They play defense all the time.
You think they are?
Yes.
I
believe Golden State will beat Cleveland in 7. I believe Kevin Durant's going to walk away with his championship.
I don't know about that. Who, Kevin Durant?
No, I'm telling you. I believe somehow, some way, when that is Game 7, Cleveland Golden State, Durant does what he has to do because he has no championship, so he's desperate. As desperate as Cleveland was last year to win that Game 7, Durant's going to be desperate. And I could tell that Game 3 in San Antonio how desperate he was, where he just said, I'm taking over this game. I think he's going to do that, and Golden State's going to wear the crown, and they're going to have 2 out of 3 championships. That's what I believe.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Well, I mean, we'll see what happens. But it's definitely going to be Golden State. I think Golden State and Cleveland, a repeat. This is just one of the greatest matchups of this time period in the NBA. So we got to wait and see what happens, Ron.
You're absolutely correct. I'm going to let you go. You did terrific.
Thank you so much for having me, Ron. Have a great week. Looking forward to it.
Yes, definitely. I had a chance to talk to Donte Boxing Nation. I was on his show, and I had a lot of fun, and we're going to air that on YouTube. And this is me on Donte's Boxing Nation, and I'm looking forward to Saturday's show. I'll be on bks1.com.
A seatbelt can stop you from going into a store. A seatbelt can stop you from climbing a tree. It can stop you from flying or from rolling down a hill. A seatbelt can stop you from doing a lot of things, like crushing bones and damaging vital organs. It can even save your life. That's why we enforce seatbelt laws, to save lives. So buckle up every trip, every time. Click it or ticket. Paid for by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Talked about it, I think months ago with the left. One second,
Kirk. Just 1 second. 1 second for a second, man.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Let me see if I can. Hey, Ron, man, we got you. We pre-recorded right now, but I got you on the show with us, bro, because you called in on the line right now, man. So. What's going on, Ron?
Oh my gosh! Wait a minute! I got you on my show, Coach Radio.
Are you serious? My man Ron Fitch right now. He's doing his show, and we're doing our show right now. So it's going down, man. It's going down. Triple talk.
I reached out to Shakur's people. Shakur's a kid. So he did want to do the interview at 9, but kids forget. So we're working on something during the week where I can get him for your show.
Okay.
Oh man,
I've been hustling out here, man. And I got to know Jonathan Maceo, and we got to talk, and I got his number, and I felt so sorry what happened to him yesterday.
You said who?
Maceo, a fighter who Beltran knocked out.
The one that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I interviewed him for you, and we got to be friends. And I got his number. I said, "Listen, after the fight, if you win, you could talk on Donte Boxing Nation." And he got knocked out so bad.
Oh man.
For him.
Yeah.
But we still want to hear from him.
Yeah. He can still do the show, man. I mean, once he's better, But it is unfortunate, I'm just glad that it wasn't serious damage for sure. He can still always do the show, man. You don't have to always get a sensational knockout or W just to do the show, man.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. No doubt. And I'm gonna tell you something. Beltran was fighting. He's really fighting for his livelihood.
Yeah.
He's fighting for his green card.
Yeah. Wow. And you could tell he was fighting like he was hungry.
Yeah.
You could tell he was fighting like he was hungry.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And just to let you guys know, my man Ron Fitch, he's been covering boxing for a long time. He represents DBN. He's got his own radio show as he's doing right now. So, hey, Ron, and like I said, he covers fights for me on the East Coast, man, which I really appreciate. So, Ron, give them your information, man, so they could go ahead and follow you and check out your show and everything, Ron.
It's Coast to Coast Radio with Ron Fitch on SB Nation. Also on WBKS1.com. WBKS1.com is a hot station out here. They do a lot of hip-hop shows. They do news. They're nice enough to let me scream and holler about sports. I'm surprised I got credentials because I laid into HBO on one show about how biased they are and how Jim Lampley's biased and how Showtime does a much better job. And I guess they didn't know who I was, thank God. But I meant that. There were certain things. And me and you have kindred spirit. Because there's a lot of things I say, and then I look back at YouTube, I'm like, that's exactly how I feel, and that's exactly what I said.
And Ron, and it's not how we feel, it's the truth. I mean, it's how we feel, and it is the truth. That's why, they may not, like it, but, if I tell you it's going to rain, or a news reporter tell you it's going to rain this weekend, it don't matter if you like it or not, it's going to rain. You know what I mean? So if we telling the truth, we telling the truth, man.
Great minds think alike.
Absolutely, man. And that's what we need. We need more people like my man Ron Fitch and all of us, man. And even you guys who listen to the show, we need everyone to spread the word and speak the truth. Don't be afraid just because someone tries to scare you, into not telling the truth when it comes to putting this stuff out there. And more people are talking about, you have boxers now talking about how biased HBO Jim Lampley, the ringleader, is. So, I'm not going to back off of that, because it's supposed to be about the sport first. And too many people are making this personal.
Yeah.
They're making it too personal. You go back and you listen to old school blow-by-blow announcers, and you listen to Jim Lampley, you're like, what the hell is this? You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
They had no type of agenda or nothing like that, man.
And it's obvious when they,
I think it shifted after Oscar De La Hoya won the gold medal, and they saw that they had a cash cow, and the Latin community was really supporting him, and that was a community they could pimp, basically, and they kind of forgot the African-American community. And then here comes Mayweather coming out of nowhere, being his own man and being his own businessman, and that bothered a lot of people. So he didn't get the true credit he deserved. Even though they said they kept ducking all these guys, he's ducking Mobley, ducking it, and then he ends up beating everybody. Mm-hmm. And that bothered people that he ended up undefeated, and he wasn't the guy that they wanted to be undefeated, so they have to craft their own reality.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's exactly. And now it's like that's why when Floyd Mayweather retired, they desperately scrambled to find someone that they actually like, that fit their agenda to basically replace Floyd Mayweather. That's why they desperately like, oh, let's say Roman is pound for pound. You know, let's say Golovkin is pound for pound. Let's say Canelo is pound for pound. They wanted desperately to replace Floyd Mayweather with someone that they personally liked. They didn't care how good he was. They just wanted to get that aftertaste of Floyd Mayweather, you know, out, and that's pretty much.
Well, they got their guy now, Donte, and Lomachenko. Even though he only has 9 fights, I'm looking online and saying, is he the greatest ever? He's a very talented fighter, but this guy has 9 fights. He didn't, and there's one really good opponent he beat. He didn't beat Thurman and Porter and everybody. He doesn't have a long. He just 9 fights and 1 good win. And I'm thinking, what am I missing, fellas?
Yeah, well,
man.
Well, once again, I mean, Loma. See this, and this is what I love about the whole truth. It forces ignorant people to contradict themselves, because what they love to say, and especially Jim Lampley, the main thing he loves to say is, you know, certain fighters are boring and they're not getting knockouts. They just want to, you know, play it safe.
You know, the new term he's using is fan friendly.
Fan friendly.
He loves using that term, fan friendly.
Well, the Gaddy list. The Gaddy list.
Oh, yeah, the Gaddy list.
Lomachenko would not be on the Gaddy list.
No, he wouldn't.
You know what I mean? Even though he's getting knockouts and stuff like that, but he doesn't get hit. And in fact, Jim Lampley and Max Kellerman, they bragged how this man, you know, he could fight underwater without getting wet. They literally use that reference. They said this man can fight underwater without getting wet. That's how elusive he is. But, you know, when it's a fight on a coincidental list that don't get hit, oh, you too afraid to get hit. Why you trying so hard not to get hit? Something you know about yourself we don't know?
The name of the game
is the hit.
Well, Donte, I want you to tell my audience what the coincidental list means.
Man, the coincidental list is pretty much as self-explanatory as it can be. It's basically a list of fighters that coincidentally all get treated the same way and coincidentally happen to all look the same. You know what I mean? If we being realistic here,
right.
I mean, once again, it's not a coincidence that it's the coincidental list, basically. That's what it comes down to. It's not a coincidence that every single fighter, they use these excuses that, you know, if a fighter is not getting knockouts and he's elusive like Lomachenko, oh, he's boring. Oh, I want to see blood and guts. I want to see him get hit. I want to see drama. I want to see knockouts. So when a person is too flawless like Mayweather, he's boring. But now, once again, they're forced to contradict themselves, because then when you have Deontay Wilder, when you have Gervonta Tank Davis, when you have Errol Spence, and they're getting the knockouts, and they're still not being treated like fighters on the hope list, which is obviously the opposite of the coincidental list, then we know that it's more, maybe it's not a coincidence that they all been treated like that. So that's what the coincidental list basically comes down to, man. You know, so.
And what, you know, I want to talk to you about, Donte. This is Donte from Donte Boxing Nation. This is Ron Fitch from Coast to Coast Radio. What in the world happened with Andre Dirrell's uncle?
Oh, that was horrible, man. That was horrible. And go ahead, Milton. I got my man Milton on our line. You know, he works with me. Man.
Hey, you know, I'm not sure if you're asking because you didn't see it or you letting the fans know. But what happened?
You saw it. Give an explanation.
Yeah. I mean, I think that he didn't know that he had apologized, and I think that because he had hit Andre earlier in the fight after the bell, and it was a hard shot right after the bell, and he got a hard warning from the ref, and then he turned around and did it again and knocked him out with it. I think the uncle didn't realize everything was cool between Uzcategui and Andre. They had already kissed and made up. But the thing is, Donte used the term to describe that as scandalous. That punch he hit Uzcategui with was scandalous, man. That was uncalled for. I'm not sure if I don't know if the cops found him, but I know that they had issued a warrant for his arrest for assault. Which, I mean, it, you know, by all accounts, that's exactly what happened. And I know that the State Athletic Commission was reviewing Anthony's conduct when he was trying to enter the ring to get to his brother. he pushed and shoved, and maybe he punched someone as well. I know he was at it with security as well. But the uncle, I think he took it way too far, man.
I mean, I'm telling you, man, me personally, man, and I got love for the Durrells, man.
I do too.
What I mean? I got love for the Durrells, and I had, just like I said, because we can look at this both ways. Just like I said, it was wrong, for Us Katigi to catch Durrell with a hellacious hook right after the bell. Forget that ridiculous stuff like, oh, it was only a couple seconds, or it was only, that's ridiculous. It ain't supposed to be no punches after the bell, because that's when Durrell relaxed and he got caught. So just like Us Kastigi was wrong for doing that, I gotta be real when I say this, man. That was cold blooded what Durrell's uncle did, because the way he did it, they were just talking, and it was like, it looked like everybody was, basically like, it was a mistake, and everybody, they was reconciling, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere,
but
you do this dude like that.
The part that got to me the most, he didn't come up, square up on this man,
but that's my
cuss
point.
Him out. He eased over into it and stole that man.
We used to call that we call it dope fiending somebody back in the day.
We called it we stealing him.
Yeah,
he stole that cat.
Yeah, stole on him.
He stole on him. Yeah, man, and it was like I'm like, come on, man. It
just was unnecessary.
That's I will give it to Uskategi, man. He took that punch like a G.
Yeah, like
he stood in the pocket with it.
Yeah,
he was
like that woke him up. Like he was actually over there daydreaming and and that just woke him up. Like, oh, somebody want my attention, But yeah, man.
He went to the hospital over that.
He did go to the hospital, because I heard after his adrenaline went down and everything, he was a little dazed or something like that. They did say something like that. But no, man, that's just uncalled for, man.
It was.
Because see, this is what now see, I could almost understand, not even condoning it, but I can almost understand if maybe Anthony Durrell didn't get the DQ win, and maybe they call it a no contest.
Right.
Maybe if there was no justice at all, and Us Kastigi, he was running around acting a fool. He was like, oh, if he was in the ring like, oh, Durrell, you bitch, you quit and all that, I could understand under that situation. But in this situation, Durrell got everything that he deserved. He got the W. He got the apology, which was really important to get, from Us Kastigi and his crew.
And the interim title.
Yeah, and he got the interim title.
Yeah.
So he got everything in his favor. That's like winning a lawsuit, being awarded $1 million.
Right.
And because somebody assaulted you, after you get the $1 million, you run over there and punch the dude, and now you get sued back.
I want to get my lick back.
Yeah. I mean, you already been awarded the money, man.
I could almost understand if Andre was unable to get up. If he had clocked him so hard, like he
in a stretcher or something.
Man, who was the knockout of the day yesterday?
The dude Ray Beltran knocked out.
Yeah, Beltran.
Masio. What's his name again? Masio or what's his name? Ron?
Maceo.
Maceo.
Yeah.
Maceo.
Got knocked out by Beltran. Beltran was hungry. I interviewed Beltran when he was training, and I could tell he had a different motive. He was super fired up. He's fighting for his livelihood. Hit him with a good left hook. He told me, he said, Ron, I'm gonna press him. I'm gonna press him until I get the win. I said, okay. And then I talked to Macio's trainer, and Macio's trainer like, yeah, I know he's gonna press us, but we're gonna box the heck out of him and get the W. I said, okay. So I'm talking to both sides, and then Maceo was doing that. But he didn't have the power, so he couldn't keep Beltran off him.
Yeah,
so Beltran got him with a look, and his head bounced off the canvas, and that's where the concussion came from.
Yeah, you're right. And see, if Andre had gone out like that, if they had to carry Andre out on the stretcher, and he had gotten fouled, I can understand them being upset. But the man got up, he went over, they've hugged, they've shook hands, and everything is cool, and then you go over and steal that man like that. That was man.
Yeah.
Hey, I can like I said, like Chris Rock said a long time ago. I don't agree with it, but I understand.
Yeah. Exactly. And I guess they'll probably have a rematch now. It's definitely unfinished business. The fight was turning out to be a great fight. It was a good fight, man, and it's just unfortunate that it ended that way. So
it really was.
But yeah,
I want you guys' opinion on Terrence Crawford. I thought he was terrific. At times he got hit a little bit, but he was boxing the dude so well. And I talked to him, and I said, listen, the sky's the limit, because you got Lomachenko, you got Broner, Giovanna, you got Easter, but then on the higher side, the higher weight side, you got Thurman and Porter and Brook. And I said, you're in the middle of a storm where you can find anybody. Say, yeah, I'm ready. Because you know his one-word answer. That's Terrence Crawford. Yeah, I'm ready for anybody.
Yeah, the toughest interview. Yeah, Terrence Crawford and them one-word answers. Man.
Yeah, he don't expound a lot.
But no, he gave you love when we were off camera. I just wanted to let you know, Donte, he gave you love when he came in the gym, and I told him I was with you guys.
Oh, is that right?
That's what's up.
That's what's up, man. That's my man's, man. That's my man's. I appreciate that. We're going to definitely get him and his trainer. Shouts out to trainer Bo Mack. We got to get both of them on the show, man. So,
I'm not trying to ride or nothing like that, man, but I'm here to tell you, and I know a lot of people are still saying that Andre Ward, in many people's opinion, is pound for pound the best fighter in the world right now. But I'm here to tell you, man, the way he thoroughly trashed and thrashed Diaz last night, man, I'm telling you, because he made Diaz look so ordinary, man.
Yes, he did.
And
yes, he did.
I'm just, when you're an elite fighter, it's not necessarily that you get the W, but it's how you look getting it. And he was spectacular last night, man. He was getting caught early in the fight. I think he was trying to get timing down. But he was leaning straight back. But he made the adjustments. And the great ones can do that. They can make an adjustment, and they can make it to where they are out of harm's way, and they are tagging you anytime they get ready. And last night he proved to a lot of people, man, he is slowly inching up towards being the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world.
Well, they made some commentary regarding his hand speed last night, Max Kellerman and Jim Lampley, and I'm like, you know what? I don't think it's Terrence Crawford's hand speed or his foot speed or what. I think it's his timing.
His timing, and impeccable timing.
And as you mentioned earlier, he adjusts. Like, he reminds me of Mayweather in the sense that if you don't knock him out in the first couple of rounds, it's over.
It's over.
You figured out.
I swear, Kurt, I was thinking the exact same thing, bro, but I didn't want to get caught up. People saying I'm being, hyperbolic and giving the man too much hype and just, a lot of people. So I'm trying to be cautious, but he really did. The way he adjusted, the way he felt him out for the first 3-4 rounds, and then it was just takeover time, just nothing you can do with him. And he gonna do anything he want with you, the same way Mayweather used to do, making adjustments. But I didn't want to go there with it because I know a lot of people. Oh man, there you go, comparing him to Mayweather. But
it's an accurate comparison. The major difference I do see is with Crawford, and I like this about him. He wants to beat you. He really wants to punish you, and he takes
great pride,
pleasure in doing it.
Yes, he does.
Yeah. And I hate when they always try to interpret, slickness or intelligence or timing for just speed. They do that all the time. HBO, they do it all the time. Somebody got perfect time and they ain't even got to be fast. Like, look at how quick he is. Oh, it's just a speed. That's the only thing he has over these fighters is a speed. No, Floyd Mayweather said it perfectly. Floyd Mayweather said you could be faster than me, stronger than me, taller than me, quicker than me, but I'm going to be smarter than you at the end of the day.
You just hit the nail right on the head, brother.
Yeah.
That's one thing that they always discount. Intelligence.
I talked to some of the Showtime executives and the Showtime broadcasters off camera, and they say the exact same thing about HBO. I mean, they don't want me to quote them verbatim, but off camera, a lot of the broadcasters say the exact same thing you guys say.
Yeah. And I've heard folks from Showtime say the exact same thing too. They were, talking with, with Jim Lampley is like, It seems as though they are there only to hype up an HBO fighter.
Yeah, man.
You know, they have an agenda, and it's obvious.
The Fox News of boxing, man. Like I said, man, I talked to Al Bernstein, and it's such an accuracy. It's such an accurate way to break it down. You know what I mean, and describe them.
Right.
You know, but I talked
so
to Al,
biased.
Yeah, man. And once again, I truly feel that Jim Lampley in particular. Because there used to be a time when Jim wasn't biased, man. He used to be extremely impartial.
It's like they start pushing an agenda.
Yeah, 10, I would say about over 10 years ago. He was very impartial, and it was Larry Merchant that used to just be on his Bill O'Reilly, Fox, all kind of stuff, right? And I remember it used to be Jim who used to straighten him out.
Right.
And be like, you know, he would kind of say in certain words, you know, the translation would be, "You're doing too much, Larry. Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back to professionalism," right? And I think what happened with Jim is after a couple years, he starts saying, you know what, let me just try to throw a little out there just to see how people take it. And then he noticed, it's like stealing, you know, you steal a little bit and don't nobody notice. You know, you working for somebody, you know what I mean? You stealing a little bit of money. Oh, they don't notice that money is missing yet.
Right.
So right now, Jim Lampley, at that time, he started doing a little bit. And it started coming out slowly. He's like, let me see if anybody will trip. Well, anybody start calling me biased. Nobody said anything. So he said, okay, let me get out there just a little bit more.
A little bit more, man.
No, and he said, damn, they still ain't said nothing. Then all of a sudden, booyah, he came out full blown. You know what I'm saying?
You know,
and
man.
he was like, damn, you know, I got the Gaddy list. Damn the pound for pound list. You know, I don't give a damn about them, and this dude is boring, and this and that, and now he's like, man,
he went full, full on, right?
He went full blown, man. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is, you know, and it's unfortunate, but that's exactly what happened.
Yeah,
man. That's exactly
what happened. Floyd left, and they've been trying to fill that void.
I have to let you go. Coast to Coast Radio, because I have to talk about the other boring sports. We're going to do a sports show that covers all these other ridiculously boring playoffs. You guys are exciting. This is exciting boxing talk. So I'm going to let you guys go. It has been a lot of fun talking with you guys.
Pleasure all mine, brother. Pleasure's all mine.
Pleasure to be on your show, brother.
Thank you very much.
So I'll catch up with you. Take care of your business. All right, Ron?
Okay.
All right, man. All right, guys. So that was my man Ron Fitch. Like I said, he covers